Alright, so density. We've all heard of density before. We did a lab on it, so it should be a little familiar. Let's just give you the equation. Density is mass over volume. So this means, for any given substance, it's always going to have the same density, right? Density of water is always going to be the same. Density of gold is always going to be the same, and so on. What I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to do some problems, and this way it'll be the easiest way to kind of show you how to do this. So let's just start with that. So, all right. If a sample has a mass of 200 grams and a volume of 150 milliliters, what is the density? All right, so to start with, this is obviously really easy, right? But I want you to do this problem the way I tell you anyway, because as we get into other things, this is going to help you. So anytime you do a problem, I want you to write down everything that you have, all your givens. So you're going to write mass equals 200 grams. Don't just write 200 grams, write mass equals 200 grams. Same thing with the volume, V equals 150 grams. And I also want you to list the thing you're looking for. D equals question mark. So of course this is really easy. Density is mass over volume, so we're just plugging in numbers for M and V.
Wait, what?
Isn't volume 150 milliliters?
Thank you. Good catch. Okay, so all we gotta do is put in our numbers. 200 grams divided by 150 milliliters. Make sure you write your units into your calculation. What's 200 divided by 150? 1.33. We'll just put a couple threes there. You don't need a whole bunch of them. And then whatever units you have in your calculation, they stay there. So you're going to write grams, put grams on top, divided by milliliters on the bottom. All right, questions so far?
How do you know which one's the mass and which one's the volume?
Well, in the problem, I'll usually tell you mass 200 grams, but also you can just look at the units, right? So if it says grams, it's got to be mass. If it says milliliters, it's got to be volume. If it says liters, it's got to be volume, and so on. All right, now let's do a problem that'll be a little bit different. A sample has a volume of 60 milliliters, and its density is, let's say, 2.5 grams per milliliter. What is the mass? And I don't want you to just guess here, do I multiply or divide? I see a lot of people do this where they're like, take whatever two numbers you're given and always just guess or multiply or divide. Don't do that. So write it out. Again, this says volume, right? V equals 60 milliliters. This is density here. So D equals 2.5 grams per milliliter. And then mass is the thing we're looking for, so you write M equals question mark. If you can do problems like this, if you can write your givens down like this, and then solve the equation for whatever the question mark is, then you can do almost any problem in chemistry or physics. Almost everything can be solved this way. All right, so mass is what we're looking for. So we write our equation down. D equals M over V. And one thing we do not do is plug in numbers. We're going to solve for M. So how do we solve for M? Multiply both sides by V. So we get V times D equals M. Hey, what's up? How are you?
Are you leaving me?
Okay, so
What's up?
density. You can have a seat if you want.
Okay, I'm going to the cafe and I'll be right back.
Okay. So volume times density, 60 mLs. All we're doing is plug it in here. Times 2.5 grams per milliliter. Right, so once you do this, it's very easy because now the problem just does itself. You just plug in numbers to find M. So V times D. And make sure the units cancel if you're supposed to cancel, right? The milliliters will cancel. And now you can tell your answer's got to be in grams. And what's 60 times 2.5? 150 grams. Questions on that? So for density, sometimes you can do it in your head and figure out what the mass is going to be. But for more complicated problems where we have 4 variables and so on, you're going to need to be able to do the algebra. So you want to do this process every time. All right, let's do one more. Let's do one where we got to solve for volume, and then that'll be it. So we'll say a 5,000 gram sample. So I didn't tell you what it is, but what is it? That's mass, right? It's in grams. 5,000 gram sample has a density of 11.2 grams per milliliter. What is the volume? So again, write your givens down. M equals 5,000 grams. D density is 11.2 grams per milliliters. And then of course volume is what I asked you for, so put V equals question mark. You can erase all this, right?
Ms. Scapoletti, please call 2501. Ms. Scapoletti, please call 2501. Thank you.
All right, so you write the equation down. D equals M over V, and we have to solve for volume. So, no. And if you remember, this is the one I gave you guys when I was teaching a little bit of algebra that I said you would get wrong. To do this correctly, you got to get V out of the bottom.
Wouldn't the D over M?
No. So let's multiply both sides by V and see what happens. V times D equals M. Now what do? Divide both sides by D. We're trying to find volume, right? Trying to get volume by itself. So here we go. V equals M over D. That's our solution. Now we go ahead and plug in numbers. So M is 5,000 grams divided by density, which is 11.2 grams per milliliter. Grams cancels. This milliliter is just going to go on top. 5,000 divided by 11.2. It's got to be a little less than 500, right? About 450 something. 416? 4.16?
Yeah, I got 446.
Wait, what'd you get?
446.
446?
Yeah, point and a lot of.
Yeah, we don't care.
Yeah.
Close enough. Okay, 446 milliliters. There's your answer. Questions on this? All right, so a couple comments here. In the one where you have to solve for volume, I mean, I've already given you all the solutions, but if you didn't have it, it's likely that you would make a mistake. For density and mass, it would be very easy to just do without thinking too much. Down the road, using this process is going to make other things much easier. You're going to do things with a lot more variables in them, and it's going to be much harder if you just try to think in your head, oh, what is G equal or B equal or this or that. So make sure you are writing down your givens, make sure you're solving the equation algebraically, and doing this right. We good? Should I do any more? All right. I'll leave it up there. Yes.